2 double corners to go around this first hard pinch. This is the only time I braid double corners in. From here on out it's just straight braiding. And now I take a good long piece of lacing thread. You want at least 4 times the length of your starting row. So to lace this together, there's more than one way to do this, but this is what I like to do. If you look at your braid, here's my first double corner. These 2 loops both go into this one. This one here kind of gets a diamond shape to it because it's right in the corner. So if I back up from that loop one more, so this is the last normal loop on the left that I have. So I'm going to go under that loop this direction and leave a tail on this lacing thread here. Okay, now I'm going to travel under the next 3 loops. So I'm just going to travel under the first pulled loop on the left after my first double corner, and the second pulled loop, and one more loop. This is the first loop of the normal straight braiding. Pull under there. You might want to just check on the back, make sure you don't see the lacing thread, that you've done that correctly. Now right here, I just like to tie a knot. This thread will fall right in the channel there and be hidden pretty well. So I just get a good tight knot here. There we go. And now I'm going to travel under those 4 loops again. That will pull that knot just under the middle of that loop. And then I'll weave that tail in later. Sometimes I just leave that tail. It helps, like if I put the rug away, fold it up, and then when I get it out again, it takes a little bit to orient myself. Where am I at? And if I have this tail here, I know exactly where the starting point was on the top side, and I can get right to work. So I'm going to go under all 4 of those loops just the same as I did before. Now, I'm going to show you E-lacing. This is called E-lacing because it's sort of, if you would trace the path of the thread, it would make a cursive E shape, only backwards. So I highly recommend you lace on a table and keep your work in this orientation flat on the table. I never pick it up and pull my lacer out from the bottom side. I do turn it over and look and make sure that I don't see lacing thread in the back side, but I'm not picking it up to pull the lacer out from underneath it. Okay, so I've just come back under that first normal braiding loop, so I'm going to travel 1 more loop and just travel underneath there. Now I want the thread to lay right in the line, so I'm going to go up here to the top, put my lacer in to the center of the braid and come out toward the gap between the 2 strands that you're attaching. You're always bringing your lacer towards this gap. And pull that down. Okay, so now that thread is just tucked right down in that channel there. Now I'm going to travel down across and go through that same loop that I did the first time, the gray one that I just traveled through. And this is the part where I like to think 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So here I've got 2 steps. This is my second step forward, going in the next loop on the bottom side, and come to the top and go 1 step back. Okay. Now we must go through that same brown loop again, but we go through another loop forward. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Two steps forward, come back through 1 step sort of to the back. Now one thing you don't want to do is really tighten the lacing thread after your 2 steps forward, because you'll be pulling the whole braid, shrinking it in this way a lot by doing that. So you just don't want to yank that too hard, make it firm but not really yanked. This you can pull tightly to come across when you're crossing there. At this point you could pull it pretty tightly because it's coming from above, but here you don't want to pull this really hard. You notice how my lacer is always on top of the braid. I'm not poking down through and trying to fish it up from below and getting all twisted around. Just keep your work on the top side. Bring your lacer up in the joint between the 2 strands that you're joining. Okay, so I'll go the whole way down through here. And then I'll show you how to get around this first corner.